2 games with a left knee injury. However, Ike Taylor will miss his 4th consecutive game tonight because of shoulder and forearm injuries. Meanwhile, the Ravens defense gets a big lift by the return of 2 defensive linemen. Haloti Ngata is back after serving a 4-game suspension for violating the NFL's performance-enhancing drug policy. And Chris Canty returns after sitting out last week with an injured ankle.
All right, thank you, Michelle. John Harbaugh has taken his team to the playoffs in 6 of his 7 years as the head coach, and in each of the 5 previous instances, he has won that first game, 9-4 overall. It rained during the day. It was colder. It's getting warmer. It's 45 degrees, and it might get up to 50 by midnight. The temperature is rising. The wind, just a breeze right now, and it's cloudy and dry. The field is in good shape. Justin Tucker to kick off for Baltimore. As Pittsburgh won the toss, they'll receive, and that's Marcus Wheaton, who sets up in the end zone. And away we go in this wild card playoff game from Pittsburgh with a kick through the end zone. And let's take a look at the Steelers offensive starters.
Ben Roethlisberger, Miami Redhawks.
Josh Harris, Wake Forest.
Antonio Brown, Central Michigan.
Marcus Wheaton, Chandler High School.
Martavis Bryant, Clemson.
Heath Miller, Virginia.
Kelvin Beacham, Southern Methodist University.
Ramon Foster, Ripley High School. Marquise Pouncey, Lakeland Senior High.
David DeCastro, Stanford.
Marcus Gilbert, University of Florida.
And they are going to start with Ben Tate at running back. He just got here this week. And they have a fullback in the game as well in Will Johnson, who sets up on a wing to the right side. So Tate, for 5 days, a Steeler, and they put him right to work, and he takes it to the 22-yard line. He has plenty of experience. He was drafted by the Houston Texans out of Auburn, was hurt his rookie year, then had 900-plus yards in his second season. This year, he went to Cleveland and left there about 3/4 of the way through the season, went to Minnesota for 3 games. They let him go, and here they come now in no huddle on a 2nd down and 8. So Roethlisberger is spreading it out. Probably see a lot of empty tonight to the outside to Tate. So the guy just gets here, and right off the bat he has a rush and a reception taken down by Webb. It'll make it 3rd down and 1.
Well, they're going to give you the full repertoire right off the bat, huh? Hand it to him, throw it to him one time. But one thing that, in talking to Todd Haley, he said is that he's a pro. He's been around. He understands protection schemes. He understands what you're trying to do with an offense, how to protect the football. And I think the level of trust was just a little higher with Tate than it was with Josh Harris.
The 2 rookies, you have Harris, an undrafted rookie, and Bree Archer. The other rookie was picked in the 3rd round. Fake to Tate. Ben has time. A little dump off to Wheaton. That'll be a 1st down. He takes it out to the 38-yard line. Tackled there by C.J. Mosley, the rookie who will be going to the Pro Bowl.
Wheaton's going to come across the formation here out in the flat. And sometimes that first down just feels the best. Tried to take a shot at him coming out. Doomerville did, but just not enough. So the first thing that you've got to think is on the minds of the Baltimore Ravens is they just got blistered for 6 touchdown passes the last time. They do not want to see Ben get going here early.
2 minutes into the game, the ball is at the 37-yard line. Tate again. Go figure. Here's a guy in Houston. He was behind Arian Foster, so he'd had enough of that. Goes to Cleveland. Had a 100-yard game earlier this season, but worked his way out of the Browns camp. Went to Minnesota, and here he is in the playoffs with Pittsburgh.
Well, you're going to get this zone run, and obviously his time in Houston, that's about all they did down there, ironically, with Gary Kubiak, who's on the other sideline now. So he's very familiar with that play. They're going to play to his strengths here tonight.
Kubiak now the offensive coordinator of the Baltimore Ravens. Pistol here. Once again, through the middle, and then he loses the ball, but it's picked up by Brown at the 44-yard line. So Tate got the first down, then fumbles, but right there is the alert Brown for a big play and a first down at the 44-yard line.
Well, we've seen Antonio Brown do everything else this year, but the one thing you truly miss, and that ball is out, with Le'Veon Bell is the fact that the entire year he never fumbled the football. He handled it more than anybody, had more yards than anybody in NFL history without a fumble. And here we are on the first drive and already a ball out, and he's out.
And he's out. Josh Harris comes in. Harris, a rookie from Wake Forest, undrafted, had a 59-yard run last Sunday night, negated by a holding penalty on Ramon Foster. And he takes it just back to the line of scrimmage. Let's take a look at that Baltimore defense.
Pingata, Oregon. Brandon Williams. Moso.
Chris Canty, Wahoo Wah.
Cornell Shaw, University of Alabama.
Daryl Smith, Georgia Tech.
CJ Mosley, Alabama.
Hacksaw, Ball So Hard University.
Ladarius Webb, Nickel State.
Will Hill, Florida.
Darian Stewart, South Carolina.
Rashawn Melvin, Northern Illinois University.
Ball So Hard University, Wahoo Wah. We need a glossary here. 2nd and 10 from the 45-yard line. 4-man rush. Ben sliding, buys time, throws, and that's incomplete. They can get 3rd down and 10 from the 44.
Well, one of the things that already we're seeing is that no matter where Antonio Brown goes, he is just going to be treated like any other receiver out there. That was one of the big questions for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Right here, they're not going to do anything special with him tonight. They're just going to let whoever is on him cover him. And with all the changes that have taken place in this Ravens secondary this year, that's got to be the matchup that not real sure how the Ravens are going to win that one.
Now you have Brown in the backfield, and he is in motion. Dree Archer is the other back. The pass is behind Brown, but he makes the catch. Look at that. And he comes very close to picking up the first down. Had to reach behind, avoided the tackle, comes very close to picking up the first down.
Just amazing. This young man has just put on a show the entire year. This was a poor throw that he ends up making the catch on, and not only that, and then he's going to make Ladarius Webb miss, and because Webb is the outside contained, there's nobody left, and the drive stays alive. Something else, isn't he?
Well, caught 129 passes this season, 2nd most in history, eclipsed only by Marvin Harrison a number of years back. Ben Tate now comes back into the game. And they feed him again over right guard, and Upshaw is right there along with Nata to make the tackle at the line of scrimmage. It'll be 2nd down. Ben Roethlisberger picked in the 04 draft. 10-4 as a starting quarterback in postseason play, and of course he owns 2 Super Bowl rings, 05 and 08.
Tied for the passing championship this year. How about that one? He was all worked up at Marquise Pouncey, a center who caught a deflected ball last week and left him 1 yard short.
2nd down and 10. He tied Drew Brees for the top spot. So they go 5 wide now on 2nd down and 10. 4-man rush. There's that pump fake. And then he's going to get taken down by Haloti Ngata. So Ngata suspended for the 4 games, violating the substance abuse policy. Said he took Adderall. Comes back and gets the sack. 3rd and 13.
Here comes the big guy right here. Really not bad protection here by Ramon Foster, but simply nobody open. And as Ben had to step up, he took the sack. There's Brown out in the flat, but Ben never looked that way. And Courtney Upshaw on him, I do believe. But that big guy being back is a huge difference maker, because now you can't step up in the pocket. Yes, they have the outside rushers, but now with Nata, he doesn't allow you to step up and make a throw. You saw it there.
3rd and 13. And Ben throws, and it's dropped at the 31-yard line, intended for Heath Miller, the tight end. So they picked up 3 first downs, but then the drive bogs down at the Baltimore 37-yard line.
Well, and that was big, because that would have been field goal range if he just made the catch there. But for the Ravens, Will Hill came up and made the hit, and what a difference he's made in this year of craziness in their secondary. Will Hill has been quite the find.
Brad Wing is the Pittsburgh punter. And it's going to bounce at the 5 and take a good Pittsburgh hop and is down at the 7-yard line by Ross Ventrone. Baltimore coming out and starting deep in its own territory in Pittsburgh. This wildcard playoff game being brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. By Toyota, let's go places. By Bud Light, stay in the game and drink responsibly. And by AT&T, mobilizing your world. It's the National Aviary here in Pittsburgh. It's a raven dragging a terrible towel. That fits perfect.
He's not twirling it, is he?
No. Putting it in the dumpster. From the 7-yard line, here is Baltimore's first offensive play. The running back is Justin Forsett, one of the best stories in the league this year. Flacco off the play fake to the deep outside, and the pass is incomplete, intended for Torrey Smith. Joe Flacco in postseason play, 9-4 as a starting quarterback. Of course, he won the Super Bowl, had that 4-game run. So you want to be a millionaire times 120?
Yes.
All you do is throw 11 touchdowns and no picks and take the Lombardi Trophy home.
He was as good as he could possibly be. And there's Gary Kubiak. What a difference he's made for this team this year. They scored 89 more points this year under Kubiak than what they did last year.
Franchise record for points. And then Flacco falls down, tripped on his way back, but holds on to the ball at the 3-yard line, setting up a 3rd down and long.
Steve McClendon made his presence felt right away. He pushes Jeremy Zuttah right back into Joe Flacco. And now that they're not even in a comfortable punting position. Look at that extension there by McClendon. One of the keys of the game, according to John Harbaugh, was could Zuttah handle McClendon inside? And on the first try, awesome.
Yes, he made a big point of emphasizing that to us last night. Zuttah picked up in a trade with Tampa Bay to solidify the middle of the line in the offseason. And now Flacco escaping and running out of bounds at the 12-yard line, chased out there by James Harrison. So at least he gives Sam Cook some room to punt.
Look out. We might have a storyline developing here. We have the big guy James Harrison against the rookie James Hurst having to play because of the injury to Eugene Monroe. 2 young players, John Urschel at right guard. They had to move Marshall Yonda out to right tackle. Can this Ravens offensive line hold up? And that was not a good start.
So Antonio Brown, who does everything. Last week we saw him return a punt, 71 yards against the Bengals in the game that determined the AFC North champion. Cook's punt is a line drive kick, good distance, and bounds out of bounds at about the 40-yard line. And that's where Pittsburgh will take over after a 49-yard effort. You don't have to miss a moment of Wild Card Saturday night with NBC Sports Live Extra. Take the game with you anywhere, online and on tablet. Downtown Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, on this dry Saturday night after a very rainy Saturday afternoon. From the 40-yard line, Josh Harris is the running back. Roethlisberger throws to the outside, caught by Brown. Gain of 8 yards, run out by Webb. Now the question is, as you look at Le'Veon Bell, not playing tonight, obviously, what about next week, if there is a next week? If they go to Denver, you think he'll be ready by then?
I get the feeling that it's a pretty good chance. They had him on the treadmill running up to 10 on that for an extended period of time, which I wouldn't want to try in a healthy state, but they think that running straight ahead he's fine. Now the question comes down to how much does he trust it moving laterally?
Hey, easy, alert!
He would get the extra day because the game would not be played until next Sunday. Here's Josh Harris, and Harris will take the ball to the 47-yard line. Harris is a guy who wasn't drafted, and then he tweeted out after the draft. He thought he'd be picked maybe between the 4th or 6th round, and he really got on his coaches at Wake Forest for bad-mouthing him. A couple of assistant coaches said that's not the case, but he felt that was the reason at Wake Forest that he didn't get drafted, wound up going to the Dallas camp, and then he hooks on with Pittsburgh. He's on the practice squad, and when LeGarrette Blount left here about a month and a half ago, they brought him up to the active roster.
He can run, Al. I was watching him in practice the other day. He runs under 4.5, so if he gets in the open field, tough to catch him.
To the outside, but he can't go anywhere this time. Number 99, Chris Canty. Been around a long time, 10 years in the league, makes the tackle.
Yeah, it's good to have some of these defensive linemen back in here. And here's in the inside going right there is Chris Canty coming back off of that injury. But now you get the whole rotation going with the exception of Timmy Jernigan, who's hurt out here tonight. Tell you the other guy inside that is just playing great football right now is their nose tackle, Brandon Williams. So this front is awfully tough for the Ravens.
Dree Archer is now in the backfield. That's Archer number 13, drafted in the 3rd round. Flare him out. Pass goes to Martavis Bryant. Bryant gets a nice block and then is forced out of bounds at the 41-yard line. Martavis Bryant, a rookie out of Clemson, picked in the 4th round last spring.
What an interesting play this is. Watch these guys out here just wait. They're going to catch it, and then it's almost like a sweep to the outside. You get Pouncey coming out in front and giving a little shot right to the face of Anthony Levine. But that was a design play there by Todd Haley. That was interesting. I haven't seen that one.
3rd and 5 at the 42-yard line. Tate back in. So they're rotating all 3 backs to this point. Tate stays in the block. And then the pass is caught as Bryant adjusts and makes the catch. Got position on Webb and hauls it in. Martavis Bryant.
Well, we saw this on the touchdown pass, Antonio Brown last week. Watch this. When Ladarius Webb turns his back, if Ben sees the back of the helmet here, he's going to throw it right at his helmet. And then it's up to the receiver, Martavis Bryant, to just find the football. Last week it was in front, and Antonio Brown went for a touchdown. This time a little bit behind, but that's the way they play that.
Josh Harris comes back in. Boy, Bryant was inactive for the first 6 games, but he has really come on. 8 touchdowns in the last 10 games. From the 20. Ben in the pocket, he'll dump it off. Harris. And Harris will get the ball back to the line of scrimmage, the 20-yard line, with 3.5 to go and a scoreless opening quarter.
Well, Keith Miller's a tough guy right here, but you get Terrell Suggs going, and it is ball better come out of there fast. And actually, the Pittsburgh Steelers don't really want to even throw screen passes Suggs' way. They think that he kind of has a tip on whatever their verbiage is at the line of scrimmage. He has made them look bad in the past, so they are going to be very, very careful. Everything tonight so far has been away from Suggs with that screen game.
Suggs 12th year in the league and a dozen sacks this year. And here is Archer, and Archer gets swallowed up before he can get to the line of scrimmage. And there is Mr. Suggs. Well, there's no question that Ray Lewis is going to the Hall of Fame, and then Ed Reed will follow. And this guy should be in 5 years after he retires.
One of the best players in the league, and this is almost not fair. Now you get the same tight end block. Watch him throw Miller out of the way. And Dree Archer weighs about 170 pounds. I think when he saw Heath Miller flying out there, he went, uh-oh.
Archer stays in. 3rd down and 11 from the 22-yard line. 4-man rush again. Pressure put on. And Ben is going to get sacked by Elvis Dumerville. Pass rush specialist, came over a couple of years ago in the fax machine fiasco, at least fiasco as far as Denver was concerned, had 17 sacks during the regular season.
Yeah, and this is the matchup that's been getting them beat. Marcus Gilbert just has been unable to block Elvis Dumerville this season. That's now the 3rd game that he's gotten a sack, had 2 in the first one. So if they're going to help, they're probably going to have to help that way, and that leaves Suggs one-on-one.
45-yard attempt for Sean Sweezum to try to put the first points of the game on the scoreboard, which he does. A minute and a half to go in the opening quarter, and Pittsburgh leads Baltimore 3-0. Well, tomorrow night, one Donald J. Trump will put Geraldo Rivera, Vivica A. Fox, and Terrell Owens in a room together, and you'll see it on the Celebrity Apprentice. New season premiering tomorrow right here on NBC. And, well, there is one Jim Harbaugh, the head coach now at the University of Michigan, made the trip down here to lend a little support to brother John.
I think Urban Meyer might become the new Pete Carroll, and that little rivalry, it seems like whenever Jim's around, there's a rivalry of some kind going on.
It'll be fun. Well, Jacoby Jones is back there. He is always a threat. Baltimore with excellent special teams. And from the goal line, Jacoby Jones stumbles, and down he goes at the 20-yard line, looking to cut it back. So Flacco goes to work for the second time when we come back to Heinz Field. The Super Bowl era means the last 49 seasons. James Hurst, first undrafted rookie to start a playoff game at left tackle. He's in there because Eugene Monroe is hurt. Hurst comes out of North Carolina at 6'5", 308. And there he is on that revamped offensive line. And he's going to see a lot of James Harrison tonight, as he does here. And Harrison almost gets to Flacco, who unleashes one deep downfield into double coverage, and a flag is thrown. Jacoby Jones was down there, and two Steelers covering on the play, and the flag is thrown. Like Mike Mitchell, the safety.
I think it's on Mike Mitchell. I think it's going to be helmet-to-helmet contact on a receiver. I don't believe there was pass interference on the play.
But Clete Blakeman makes the call.
Foul. Defense, number 23, hit to the head and neck area of the receiver. It's a 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. First down, Baltimore.
It was a great play by Bryce McCain to knock the ball out, but then Mike Mitchell coming up here is going to go helmet to helmet, pretty easy to see, and that's a good call. So they don't get the 50-yard play down the field, rightly so, but they do get the 15-yard penalty. But I tell you, that was another play in which James Harrison is getting awfully close in the pass rush.
Almost got there. Good news for Pittsburgh is it saved him a lot of yardage. It was Mitchell who put that hit on A.J. Green last week. Green will be out of tomorrow's game against Indianapolis, and the pass is caught at the 50-yard line. That's Owen Daniels, who came over from Houston. First down. Let's take a look at the Baltimore offense.
Joe Flacco, Delaware.
Justin Forsett, UC Berkeley.
Kyle Juszczyk, Harvard.
Torrey Smith, Maryland.
Steve Smith Sr., Utah.
Owen Daniels, on Wisconsin.
James Hurst,
North Carolina.
Fletcher Assembly, Iowa State.
Jeremy Zuta, Rutgers.
John Urschel, Penn State.
Marshall Yanda, Iowa.
Marshall Yanda, a great guard, but asked to move now to right tackle. And here is Forsett, who's been a fabulous story, close to a first down. Forsett having by far his best year. 7th year in the league out of Cal. He's been shuffled around, played in Seattle for a number of seasons, comes to Baltimore, and he has been a stud.
Yeah, he really is. And here's the base play for Justin Forsett. Just that stretch play, his speed, his ability to get outside. You know, it's pretty remarkable for a guy that has as little experience in the league as he does as far as being a starting running back, that he's turned into the star that he has been this year. But
well, Kubiak, of course, knew him well as his head coach in Houston.
That's exactly right, and fought hard to get him here.
End of the first quarter, Pittsburgh 3, Baltimore nothing. Wild Card Saturday night on NBC continues after these messages. Aerial coverage tonight being brought to you by Geico. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Michelle DeFoya, as you look into downtown Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The confluence of the Allegheny, Monongahela, and Ohio rivers. And there where the camera is Mr. Dan Rooney. In front of him his son Art, and they give it to Forsett as we start the second quarter, and Forsett takes it to the 35-yard line. The Pittsburgh defense.
Stephon Todd, Notre Dame.
Steve McClendon, Troy University. Cameron Hayward, The Ohio State.
Jason Worlds, Carter Ramblers.
Sean Spence, the U. Lawrence Timmons, Florida State. James Harrison, Kent State.
William Gay, Louisville.
Troy Polamalu, University of Southern California.
Mike Mitchell, Ohio University.
Bryce McCain, University of Utah.
Flacco throwing over the middle, and it's going to be close to a first down for Owen Daniels. As he gets the ball to the 26-yard line, Spence and Harrison converge on the tackle.
I tell you, I can't be more impressed with Marshall Yonda, who's playing right tackle in this game. He is, my opinion, it's not even close, the best guard in football right now. They have some injuries, and they asked Marshall Yonda to kick out to right tackle, and he's getting the job done out there. And Jason Worlds had a big game last week against the Bengals. He's going to need a big one tonight.
And here goes Forsett taking the ball to the 19-yard line. Justin Forsett, I mean, he was close to being out of football after last season, played at Jacksonville, and then Gary Kubiak, as Forsett said last night, he stood on the table to get him to Baltimore. And what a godsend it was after the whole Ray Rice fiasco and Bernard Pierce getting hurt. This guy has come in and had a spectacular season with 1,266 yards and a 5.4 average, tops among running backs in the league this season. Here he goes again, exploits the hole and sets up a first down and goal. Tackled by Polamalu. 7th-round pick by Seattle. Mike Holmgren was there in 08, cut after opening weekend. He went to Indianapolis. Tony Dungy was there. That was Tony's last year, cut after a month. Re-signed to the practice squad. Started 7 games for Seattle, was a backup there. Texans played all 16 games in 2012, then to Jacksonville, and then this year comes to Baltimore, and he is the man. They wanted him to come in as a 3rd down back. He winds up being a 3-down back. He plays on every down, 1st and goal. And Flacco throws that one out of the back of the end zone. Pressure put on by Cam Hayward. It'll be 2nd down and goal.
One of the things that the Steelers had success against the Ravens on last time was bringing pressure up the middle, which draws the offensive line in, and then getting pressure off the edge. So expect to see Dick LeBeau using a lot of that strategy. He would loop like James Harrison or Jason Worlds inside and then be able to get pressure on Flacco.
2nd down and goal. The running back is Bernard Pierce. He gets it. And Bernard Pierce gets into the end zone for a touchdown. Coleccio Semele with a block to spring him through the middle of the line. And so the Baltimore Ravens, they take 4 minutes to go 80 yards, 5 runs, 3 passes, touchdown.
All of these guys out here, and they go right behind Marshall Yonda, now playing tackle. And basically, he was called the compass by Mike Tomlin. He said, you know where they're going to run the ball in key situations. It's going to be behind Yonda. It was there. Pierce gets the touchdown.
Pierce had 2 touchdowns on the ground during the regular season. Tucker for the point after. And 2.5 minutes into the 2nd quarter of this wild card playoff game, the Ravens lead the Steelers 7-3. This wild card playoff game being brought to you by Bose, official sound of the NFL, by Volkswagen, TDI clean diesel, by the new Samsung Galaxy Note 4, the next big thing is here, and by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. For a familiar sight in Pittsburgh, the Duquesne Incline, operating up and down Mount Washington since 1877. Troy Polamalu going over what the problem was defensively on that last drive. 80 yards. This is taken by Wheaton 4 yards deep, and Marcus Wheaton comes out of the end zone to the 14-yard line. 24 remaining in the opening half. 7-3 Ravens. Bees in the Berg. The Killer Bees here. Ben Roethlisberger tied Drew Brees most passing yards in the league. Brown, a phenomenal season. 1698 in receiving yards. 1361 on the ground for Bell. Only teammates to finish top 2 in all 3 categories since 1970, the year of the AFL-NFL merger. Of course, with Le'Veon Bell out tonight. If they win, they go to Denver. We'll see about him next week. Josh Harris is the running back. They start from the 14-yard line. And Roethlisberger looking, throwing to the deep outside. That's caught, 32-yard line. Antonio Brown making the catch. I'm a little surprised at how easily Baltimore ran on that last drive against Pittsburgh's defense.
Well, especially when you consider you got 2 rookies in the game on that offensive line, and you've got your best guard moved out the tackle. You say, okay, you're coming in here and you're playing against Pittsburgh. It's going to be a tough day, whatever. But once they've established that, once they've established their running game, all the bootlegs, all the play action, that's when their big plays come for Baltimore.
One thing about this field, by the way, it used to be in pretty terrible shape late in the season. But it's been re-signed and actually in very good shape right now. From the 32-yard line, Roethlisberger off the play fake, throws, low throw, hits the ground. All of the Ravens there to help the officiating crew. Webb covering, it'll be 2nd down and 10.
Well, Darius Webb has a little bit of a reputation for jumping routes, and I guarantee you, Todd Haley is up there saying, oh, you're going to play this one that closely, huh? Let's see if we get a little double move. I think some of the crowd thought that was a good catch. They're going to want to see as many angles of that as they possibly can.
Well, Roethlisberger now with it ruled.
Nope.
Oh, no, it hits the ground, clearly.
Won't convince the crowd, but
well, Tomlin,
pretty obvious.
Tomlin can challenge. You got now a
takes its first timeout.
Yeah, that timeout was not because of that play. You could see Ben saying, I couldn't hear you, I couldn't get the signal, and so that was why they had to take the timeout.
Roethlisberger this year. You take a look at the numbers, and is it his best season? He said when we asked him the other day, he said to be determined.
Yeah. I think it is, especially when you consider the transformation of this offense. You know, it's been slower. We talked about in Dallas and how they've drafted all the offensive linemen and they've developed their running game and their protection's better. Well, the same thing happened here, but those guys were never healthy at the same time. DeCastro got hurt, Pouncey got hurt. They were shuffling in and out. But now for the first time, they've sort of settled it. And Ben gets rid of the ball so much quicker than he used to. He's been able to stay healthy now this entire season.
2nd and 10. And this is Josh Harris, and he'll go next to nowhere. Ben's only played all 16 games in a season in 3 of those 11 seasons, but still, you'd have to call him an Iron Man, even though he misses maybe 1 or 2 games a year. The shots that this guy has taken through the years.
Especially against this team. I mean, he thinks a couple of the hardest hits he's ever had in his life have come in this series against the Baltimore Ravens, and we've been there for a lot of them. We would have to agree.
Broken noses, separated shoulders, displaced jaws. 3rd and 10.
5-1. 5-1. Watch him.
Into the empty set here. And a 4-man rush. Ben stepping up. There's that fake. And he's going to unleash it, and getting free is Heath Miller. And as Ben has done so many times through the years, extends the play. Looks like he's going to go down. He's tougher to tackle than an apartment building. Gets away. Tomlin smiling. Gain of 30.
This is just the brilliance of Ben Roethlisberger. This is why the guy will be in the Hall of Fame one day. I think that was Haloti Ngata that just had him dead to rights. Somehow that ball doesn't come out of his hand, and Heath Miller, he knows what his guy's doing. Let me find a little open spot, and here we go. Nice job inside by Kelvin Beachum on Terrell Suggs. Not a big guy, but certainly a guy that I think has played great football at left tackle, 6'3".
Josh Harris is the back. Instead they flip it to Bryant. Martavis Bryant, the rookie, to the 31-yard line. How deflating is that for a defense to give up a play like that?
Well, you think you have a sack and it turns into a 40-yard gain. And the amazing thing is when the ball gets this far away from your body and there's people all over you, you think, oh, that was D'Angelo Tyson in there that got his hands on him. But as a defender, you've got your hands up in the air and you think he's going to throw it. Somehow with that huge hand of his, it just never seems to slip out.
And Dumerville almost got him at the end. Harris, the running back, come up this time in the pistol on 2nd down and 4. Harris, the Wake Forest rookie, to the 29. Third down and 1. That Baltimore defense, it's amazing. You know, we can just inundate you with number after number, but I got to tell you, 19 years in the league, the Ravens as a franchise, never have they allowed more than 4 yards per carry in all 19 seasons. And the average per year for a rush is 4.1, 4.2. So they are always underneath the average rush.
Yeah, that guy right there, a big reason why, too, Haloti Ngata. The problem this year has been they stopped the run, but they've had so many injuries and changes in the secondary, they just haven't held up back there as well.
3rd and 1, and
they have had 12 men on the field. They're counting them.
Yeah, let's see. Nobody can sneak off
there is
either.
No foul on the play for 12 men on defense. There were 11 in formation. Please reset the play clock to 25 seconds.
That's a little embarrassing.
Yeah, well, somebody saw a double.
Yeah, maybe they just counted Ngata twice.
It's possible.
Easy to do. Here we go. Now get big Ben Tate in there. He could really earn his money converting a few first downs for this team.
He's already carried 5 times for 17 yards. Take it to him. And Ben's going to go deep and caught for a touchdown by Brown. But he's pushed out of bounds. He's pushed out. Brown looked like he was going to come down with it, but then he was pushed out of bounds. Incomplete.
I believe that's Darian Stewart who comes over. Remember, there's no force out anymore. That foot is definitely out of bounds. Great job by Brown trying to get his feet down. He realized what was about to happen, but there on that 3rd down, they go for it all and just miss.
3rd and 1. They changed the rule a few years back. You used to be able to call it a force out and a completed pass. They changed the rule. No such thing right now. Brown is out, and Sweezum is in to attempt a 47-yard field goal. And another whistle.
Don't tell me now we get.
Well, it's a 4th and 1.
Well, if they have 12 men now, that is a killer.
That is a major killer.
12 men in formation defense. That means 5 yards. Yardage is enough for the first down, Pittsburgh.
There it is.
Unbelievable. Al, every night before a game, I assume every team does this, they make you stand up in the room. They make you say, basically, all right, who's on the field goal team? Who's on the field goal block? And you stand up and they count to 11 and make sure that 12 don't go in. And for it to happen once and then it not be a foul and then get caught again, ridiculous.
The special teams coach John Harbaugh, you saw him counting and knowing they were guilty. Then the pass over the middle, a flag is thrown as Ben Tate takes a shot, gets it to the 19-yard line, and that is Rashawn Melvin, who is down on the grass.
Flag down. Are they going to call helmet to helmet here on a defenseless?
Well, Melvin gave the shot, but he's the guy who comes up.
Personal foul. Defense, number 38. Hit to the head and neck area of a defenseless player. Penalties half the distance to the goal line from the end of the run. First down, Pittsburgh.
Melvin the penalty, and he's the guy who gets injured.
And they cannot lose another corner.
First down when we come back at the 9-yard line. Well, for the first time ever, Katy Perry rocks the Super Bowl. Check out exclusive content at Pepsi.com and get hyped for halftime. The Pepsi Super Bowl 49 halftime show. And you'll see it all February 1st, 4 weeks from tomorrow, right here on NBC. First down and goal right now. Taysom comes in the backfield, and Roethlisberger will get slung down for a 10-yard sack by Brandon Williams, making it second down and goal.
Well, we talked about this young man, Brandon Williams, and what a job he has done this year. He's going right up against the best in football, and he just drives him straight back. I was asking about Haloti Ngata. And John Harbaugh basically said, hey, if he can keep up with the way Brandon Williams is playing, he'll be just fine. You saw a little dose of it right there.
They have gotten to Roethlisberger for 3 sacks tonight. He was sacked only 3 times on his last 198 dropbacks over the last 5 games this season. And then he throws it to Brown, and Brown runs into a lot of traffic, including his own man, Hayward Bay, as he gets it to the 15-yard line, tackled there by Suggs. 3rd down.
How many guys can go inside of a pulling tackle and get to a wide receiver on a screen? Suggs is always great. I mean, he is. But when he plays Pittsburgh, he's even better than that. Whatever is better than that. That's what Suggs does when he plays against Ben Roethlisberger. And Ben knows it. He said every once in a while he hits me, knocks me down, he'll pick me up, and can't wait to hit me again.
And in his 12th season,
something else.
Good as ever. They go 5 wide on 3rd down and goal. Roethlisberger fires, caught to the 4-yard line goes Martavis Bryant. So the Baltimore defense able to hold them to a field goal attempt, tackled there by Webb. Clock ticking down to 6 minutes to go in the half. And Sweezum comes back out to try to make it a 1-point game.
Well, and at some point, you know they're going to go against Kaysen, the new guy out there. But Kaysen's played a lot of ball. Started 11 games with Carolina. Had 2 interceptions there, 4 forced fumbles, got cut. Got here basically in December. So that will be the challenge eventually tonight for the Ravens.
5 years with the San Diego Chargers when he came out of Arizona. This will be a 22-yard attempt for Sweezum. Field goal is good. We got 5:40 to go in the half, and it's a 1-point game in this AFC wildcard contest in Pittsburgh. A winners-only field kicks off 2015 at the Hyundai Tournament of Champions. Don't miss the PGA Tour's return to primetime live from Hawaii. Coverage starts Friday, 4:30 Eastern on Golf Channel. Continues next weekend on NBC. Baltimore and Pittsburgh has become one of the great rivalries in the league. Jacoby Jones, always a threat. Trying to line up on whichever side he thinks that Sweezum will eventually go to. Playing a little cat and mouse game back there. Jones from 6 yards in is going to bring it out. But the coverage is good for Danny Smith's group, and it's a first down at the 21-yard line.
The only guy we really haven't hit on up front so far is Kelechi Osemele, but watch some of the cutoff blocks. Look at all these guys on the back, all on the ground. They think that teams just get tired of getting cut the entire game, and then on the touchdown, it was more of the same from Kelechi Osemele. He is just going to cut off on the backside against Cameron Hayward. They felt like that was the key for running the football, getting Hayward blocked. Osemele did that. So Yanda and Osemele, when they're both playing guards, probably the best there is.
Straight drop, good protection. Flacco guns it wide open at the 45-yard line. Steve Smith, who makes the catch and falls down and spins the ball after a gain of 25. Long-time Carolina Panther.
James Hurst right here is going to have to start dealing with some stunts. One thing the Steelers wanted to do in this game was check out these young offensive linemen. Can they handle different stunts, different blitzes? And that time they're starting to work the ball down the field. When they can run it, their passing game and big plays really start to open up.
Smith, big free agent pickup, as was Forsett. Pass to the outside, caught. Kamar Aiken, short game. Let's check in with Michelle.
Well, Ravens cornerback Rashawn Melvin, who leveled Ben Tate on the Steelers' last drive, went right to the locker room. He's being evaluated for concussion. As you mentioned, Antoine Kaysen, his replacement for now.
All right, thank you, Michelle. So we'll keep an eye on whether he's able to return or not. Melvin, there's Harrison, who started the year retired, then was brought back in October. 2nd down and 6 from the 47-yard line. Here goes Forsett. And Forsett finding room to the 45. Well, last year the Ravens were 29th in the league, and a couple of flags come in. You get, in fact, 3 of them on the field. Cleve Blakeman will give us the call in just a minute. Jason Worlds was in the middle of that action, the Pittsburgh linebacker.
personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Defense, number 93. Penalties 15 yards to the end of the run. First down, Baltimore.
Very little down when you see 3 flags within 4 yards of each other.
Right there's the action, and you see Worlds with a little. Oh, there we go.
Yep.
The very last one. The first one was okay. The last one was no, and that's what happens so many times. It's the reason you hear coaches say play to the echo of the whistle, because a lot of times defenders get really frustrated with those extended blocks.
Blitz coming, and it's picked up, and Flacco going deep and incomplete. Smith running out of room. William Gay covering on the play. Ravens 29th in the league offensively last year. Needed to make some changes in that regard, and they brought Gary Kubiak in, who got fired last year as the head coach at Houston. Meanwhile, Jim Caldwell was running that offense last year, but it worked out pretty well for Jim, too. He'll be coaching the Detroit Lions tomorrow in Dallas.
Yeah, no question. But I think the biggest thing is the way they've developed this running game. They averaged 3.1 yards per carry, which is laughable last year, 4.5 this year.
2nd and 10, a little stumble there. Flacco, and the pass is incomplete because James Harrison almost got to him. Forces the errant throw. It'll be 3rd down and 10 for the Ravens.
Well, the theory is you leave a tight end over there to help James Hurst, but you don't want the tight end right there, Owen Daniels, blocking James Harrison either. So, you know, if you're going to put him over there, you kind of need to double team him. But I tell you what, I can't believe that James Harrison has been able to come all the way back. Lost about 30 pounds from when he was playing in Cincinnati. It looks like he did 5 years ago now.
5.5 sacks this season. Playing about 2/3 of the year. 3rd down and 10. And Flacco, nice pocket throws, caught. Daniels to the 11-yard line. Another first down. Troy Polamalu making the tackle. Gain of 19.
Working against the Pro Bowler Lawrence Timmons down the field right here. And this is just a one-on-one route. Timmons very athletic, but look at the route run. Gets down into the break, arrows out quickly, and Flacco knows exactly what he's doing. And you're starting to really see him get a feel for Owen Daniels, who came up with a big play last week to get this offense jump-started when they needed it against Cleveland.
From the 11-yard line. Forsett to get pushed back after a gain of 1. Clock at 3.5 minutes to go in the opening half.
And we're so used to Troy Polamalu making what the Steelers like to call splash plays. But this year, not many splash plays. No sacks, interceptions, just not a lot of stuff happening that he has been known for, and been known for especially in this series. Remember him jumping over and getting the sack and the interception return for a touchdown, and has done so many great things in this series, but not so much here tonight.
Memories. 2nd and 9. Flacco hit as he throws after pump faking, and that's incomplete. And Hayward put the heat on it. It'll be 3rd down and 9. Mike Tomlin still the 2nd youngest coach in the league. Only Mike McCoy at San Diego is younger.
Right there, Cameron Hayward, who has really come on this year. Tied for the lead with Jason Worrell with 7.5 sacks. When they get interior pass rush pressure, the way these outside guys can blitz, it is a long night for quarterbacks.
3rd and 9. Flacco chased by Harrison, throws, and it's knocked away by Gay. William Gay, and the pass intended for Marlon Brown, and so they limit them to a Tucker field goal attempt.
James Harrison does all the little stuff as well. Watch him right here. He is going to not only take care of Owen Daniels, give him a shot going down the field. So now he's 3 yards down the field, but then chases Flacco out. But that was a spectacular play that time by William Gay. That's a touchdown if it gets over his head.
28-yard attempt by Justin Tucker is good. 2:42 remaining in the first half in Pittsburgh. 10-6 Baltimore. With NFL Mobile, you can watch every playoff game live on your smartphone. Download and learn more at NFL.com/mobile. Now offensive line of the Ravens. Dick LeBeau. There's the definition of lifer. Hall of Famer.
Did you hear what he said, though? 2 15-yard penalties, guys. Can't give them anything.
Right. Kickoff to the 1. Marcus Wheaton coming straight up the middle and loses the ball. I hear whistles, though, so they're going to mark him down. You heard the whistle, and they're saying he is down, though it is picked up and taken into the end zone by Matt Elam, and we'll go back, obviously, and take a quick look at this one.
Yeah, from that angle, looks like he's down, but it was hard to see if the ball was moving as he hit the ground. Let's take another look. I would have to say down so far, wouldn't you?
I do. Yep. Right tush.
Yeah. Is that an official NFL term?
I've made it one, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Tuchus, yeah. There you go.
Called Dean Blandino and asked about that one.
Dean about that. Why not?
Ask him about everything else.
Right. Ball at the 18-yard line. First down for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Roethlisberger. A couple of pump fakes and the salute, of course, to Heath Miller, as has been the case in his 10 years in the league. First down.
Well, like Pittsburgh, Baltimore's defense is built around these outside players. Terrell Suggs has just been all over the place here tonight, chasing plays down from behind. They tried to block him with Heath Miller, and that 3 Archer said that's not a good idea. Then on the other side, Elvis Dumerville, who has sacked Ben a whole bunch of times. 18th sack of the year.
Last play before the 2-minute warning is caught. Martavis Bryant, and he has it out to the 43-yard line. That'll be a first down, and with 1:57 to go in the half, it's the 2-minute warning, and Baltimore leads by 4. The Toyota halftime shortly. Highlights from Arizona against Carolina, with the Panthers advancing. What to look for in tomorrow's 2 games. And Bob and Heinz Ward will check in on the break down the first half. It's coming up on the Toyota halftime. Meanwhile, Melvin was checked out okay. He comes back. He was ready to come in, but was having a helmet issue. Thus, Kason will stay in the game, at least for this one play. With 1:57, first down, Pittsburgh at the 43-yard line. And Ben will drop it down underneath, and then there's a lot of traffic there, but that is Archer, who can't get away. He gets taken down at the 50-yard line by C.J. Mosley, rookie linebacker out of Alabama, and here comes Melvin back in. Steve Spagnuolo sending out the signals. He's been coaching the defensive backs and assistant head coach. Former head coach at St. Louis. Boy, he's had his work cut out for him this year. And that is caught. And a first down here by Darius Hayward-Bay, tackled by Melvin. So a first down and a timeout taken by the Steelers. Stat update right there. You can see the rushing yards for Pittsburgh, 28 on 11 carries, so averaging less than 3 per. Time of possession, that's nothing new because Pittsburgh led the league in that category this year. Baltimore's had the ball only 8.5 minutes, 4 of those minutes on that one long 80-yard touchdown drive, the only touchdown of the night so far.
Yeah, and you just have to wonder how fresh will this Ravens defense be in the second half. But now they flip-flopped here with Dumerville and Suggs on opposite sides, so maybe they want Suggs to take a shot over there against Marcus Gilbert.
Pittsburgh has 1 timeout remaining. 3 receivers set to the right. Roethlisberger stepping up, dumps it over the middle, wide open. That's Marcus Wheaton. And Wheaton should have enough for a first down before he goes out of bounds. Taken out by Webb.
It's really been an interesting game so far, and give Todd Haley credit. Everybody focuses in on Antonio Brown, and yet it's been those other guys tonight that have really been making the plays. And so many times that sets up an Antonio Brown for the second half. So they came out, established a little run early. Now they're establishing these other receivers. Got to believe before long they go to Antonio Brown for something big.
Brown scored 4 tonight for 39 yards. Ben Tate back in at running back, flanking Roethlisberger. Roethlisberger stepping away. and then throws low and incomplete. Pressure was put on. Bryant, the intended receiver, 2nd and 10.
Now, one of the really good young stars on this Ravens defense, C.J. Mosley, they call him half man, half amazing, and you see part of the reason why. That guy came off, he's going to the Pro Bowl this year, the first rookie in the history of this franchise to go to the Pro Bowl. He has turned into some star, and of course, was drafted about the same time as Ryan Shazier of the Steelers, who was taking a couple of picks in front of him.
One was 15 and one was 17. Archer is in the backfield. Flag is thrown. Pass is behind Brown. And we'll get the call here. The 2 penalties tonight on each team accepted. And then you've got Pernell McPhee. Ben gets involved here. We'll get the call from Blakeman.
I think they're saying 2 guys moving at the same time prior to the snap.
Illegal shift. Offense. 2 men were moving and never got reset prior to the snap. 5-yard penalty. Replay, 2nd down.
Going to move the ball back to the 38. Here it is.
Once you have one guy go in motion, the other guy cannot be getting set. He stepped up to the line of scrimmage there, and you can't do that one.
68 seconds.
5-1. Hey, 5-7.
3rd down and 10.
Easy, pounce. Rip.
He had all those linebackers up.
And the pass caught at the 30-yard line. That is Heath Miller, well short of the first, and they'll have to settle for another field goal attempt to try to make it a 1-point game.
Yeah, and what happened was they basically defensively, their Dean Pease forced Ben Roethlisberger to throw hot. They've got too many guys over here for him to block. And when they end up coming all that different directions, and you saw Suggs, he knew exactly what Ben was going to do. He didn't even rush. He was sitting there going to try and pick that one off. And they stop him short of the 1st down.
Baltimore takes its first timeout.
We talked about how tough it is to run the football against this Ravens front 7. A big reason why the play inside, not only Haloti Ngata, but Brandon Williams, just play after play, pounding away. And they don't really even care what happens on the pass rush, although that kind of push certainly helps. It is more about you guys make sure that nobody's running the football on us, and we'll take care of the rest of it in business. Now you get stop the run and that kind of pressure, and you've got superstars. But I don't know that a handful of fans outside of Baltimore could name Brandon Williams, that he has been a star for them this year.
This will be a 47-yard attempt for Sean Schweezer. And that's perfect. With 37 seconds remaining, it makes it 10-9 Ravens. Find out who will take home this year's most prestigious awards. Special 2-hour event. It's the night before the Super Bowl on NBC. NFL Honors. Super Bowl Eve. 31st of January.
Suggs always has little conversations going with the people in the crowd. He enjoys this game. He and Haloti Ngata, 2 of the bigger jokesters in practice, but by the time they hit the field, they are ready to go. But so far this game tonight, as it is often when you play against the Ravens, you can move the football when you get down in the red zone, right? And then you've got some issues. Number 2, I believe, in the NFL red zone defense. Not all those have been red zone plays, but they'll let you move it a little bit, and that guy can move a lot.
Only Kansas City was better in the red zone this season. This is Jacoby Jones. He's trying to hide out. He knows he would like to kick away from him. It almost cost San Diego a game earlier this year. They didn't know what to do with Jacoby Jones that day.
You know, Tomlin almost tackled him one game. You guys got to do whatever you got to do. He was Great in the Super Bowl, though, wasn't he?
And Sweezen will send it 8 yards in, and that won't stop Jacoby Jones. He had a 108-yard run back in the big game. And he gets tackled this time at the 16-yard line by Shamarko Thomas with 32 seconds remaining. And Baltimore has a couple of timeouts if they so choose.
Yeah, tonight, you know, we always get the inactives before the game. And one thing we noticed was that there were a lot of linebackers and defensive backs up for the Pittsburgh Steelers, probably because Jacoby Jones is such a threat.
10 defensive backs, 9 linebackers. And now the field position is bad, so they're not going to use those timeouts. They'll just kneel down. They're going to get the ball to start the second half, the Ravens will. And the teams will go to the respective locker rooms in a game where if Baltimore wins, they go to New England next Saturday. And if Pittsburgh wins, they will go to Denver next Sunday in the second round of the playoffs. And we are officially at halftime with the score of Baltimore 10 and Pittsburgh 9. Ravens get the second half kickoff. Toyota halftime coming up next after these messages from your NBC station. Tight one in a rivalry where almost every one of these games is a tight one. 10-9 Baltimore leading Pittsburgh. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Michelle Tafoya, Heinz Field. Running backs for Pittsburgh tonight, 10 carries for 22 yards in the absence of Le'Veon Bell, who also is a supreme pass catcher. Ben, meanwhile, the numbers are fairly decent. 18 of 24 for 8 different receivers, but only 3 field goals. And then Roethlisberger, who'd been sacked 3 total times in the prior 5 games, was sacked 3 times in the first half alone. Do or die. Baltimore wins next Saturday in Foxborough against the Patriots. Pittsburgh wins next Sunday in Denver against the Broncos.
Now, I have to say, in my opinion, the story of the first half was the play of the secondary of the Baltimore Ravens. 6 touchdown passes against them the first time they met. These guys have just found a way, and I mean, they have had 7 different corners start this year, 5 different safeties, and yet against this same team minus Le'Veon Bell, I understand that, but they have not given up the big plays, and that was the difference in the first one.
Baltimore with 18 guys, 18 on injured reserve. Pittsburgh has 3. Squeeze him to kick off. And Jacoby Jones has been held in check to this point. See what he does here. 8 yards in. He's coming out again. And this time the coverage very good again. Ross Ventrone is there. Let's go to Michelle.
Al, John Harbaugh was happy with his defense holding the Steelers to 3 field goals, and he told me simply, field goals are not going to beat us. As for Mike Tomlin, not too concerned about the pressure on Ben Roethlisberger. He called this a classic Ravens-Steeler game. Nip and tuck it, he said, someone's going to break the dam, and it's got to be us.
All right, thank you, Michelle. Somebody with a splash play.
Splash play, that's all we heard about, wasn't it?
Could be offense, defense, special teams, could come from anywhere. Pass incomplete over the middle, intended for the tight end Owen Daniels, second down.
You know, it's been interesting for me to watch Justin Forsett right here. Watch him come in here and take on Lawrence Timmons to make the play. You know, he played with Aaron Rodgers at Cal. And he said, yeah, I'm only 5'8", but at Cal, if you didn't block for Aaron Rodgers, you never got on the field. So they train pass protection all the time, and he's pretty good at it.
For sure. Spent 1 year there when Rodgers was at Cal, and then he falls down, does Flacco. That's happened a couple of times tonight, and that ends that play as Polamalu comes in to swallow up the ball carrier, and it will be third down.
This offset nose right here, Steve McClendon is just giving Jeremy Zuttah all kinds of problems. Now that's a tough block. He has to try and reach to that side, but they are really forcing these stretch plays out wide, and Troy Polamalu flying through and making the plays. Maybe we'll see him flash a little bit for a splash play this half.
3rd and 14, and the crowd really getting into it right now, sensing a punt, and Prospective good field position. Forsett leaves the backfield. Flacco, quick throw over the middle, caught by Smith to the 28-yard line. Goes Torrey Smith, who's been quiet tonight, and then a big first catch for a first down. Gain of 16 on a 3rd and 14.
Antoine Blake playing way off because of the 3rd and 14, but he has to make the tackle. Nothing wrong with playing off, and Joe Flacco gets that thing out of his hands so quickly, knowing the pressure was coming. You just have to make the tackle there.
One of the things they wanted to do this year, one of the reasons Flacco was only sacked 19 times all year, pass to the outside. That's taken by Juszczyk for a gain of about 7 yards. The fullback going out into the flat and making it second down. Let's call it 2, gain of 8.
You know, Troy Polamalu there tried to jam the receiver off the line of scrimmage, and in talking to Joe Flacco, he says sometimes Troy wants to do so much that he'll void a zone, and that time the flat was his zone. Now, it wasn't a big play, but it did create an opportunity because he tried to do something extra.
2nd and 3, and stopped a couple of yards short. Will be Justin Forsett. Upcoming will be a 3rd down and 2, and it's Yanda who goes down, gets slung down, he gets up a little ornery.
This time it's the big guy inside, Daniel McCullers, who, when you see him in practice, about 6'7", about 350 pounds. He is a monster out there inside these nose tackles tonight. Have really made some plays.
3rd and 2. From the 37-yard line. Flacco going deep for Smith again. He got a flag down. And so Smith, who was shut out in the first half, that time covered by Antoine Blake. 2 flags on the play. And they're about 17 yards apart.
No question about the pass interference on Blake, so that's going to be at least 1. Now let's see if something's going to offset that.
Yeah, the other one is back about 6 or 7 yards past the line of scrimmage.
There are 2 fouls against the defense on the play. Holding, that penalty is declined. Pass interference, number 31. While we place the spot of foul, automatic first down.
Completing at 41, that's Antoine Blake with a pass interference.
Yeah, it's a nice job here by Torrey Smith coming back to the underthrown ball. You can see Blake with his head looking at the receiver. So at that point, all the receiver Smith has to do is just fight for the ball. And once he does that, it's almost automatic you're going to get the pass interference. So these corners played so well in the big game against the Bengals last week. McCain, 2 interceptions. Blake with the big forced fumble against A.J. Green. Tonight, a little tougher.
32-yard penalty. Play action. And the ball is loose. The ball is going to be ruled loose on the field as Sean Spence came in and recovered by Baltimore.
I think that's a fumble all the way.
Live ball, yep. But it's Zuta, the center, who comes up with the football.
Yeah, they've been running this little inside blitz the whole time. Now that ball comes out, but I think it goes behind Joe Flacco. So even if they rule it a pass, if it goes backwards, it's still going to be a fumble.
So Zuta is there to save the day. It's 2nd down and 23. That's a loss of 13 on the play. And a sack for Spence. And then a quick throw to the outside. That's Jones making the catch, fighting for extra yardage. Wrestled down at the 40-yard line. Bryce McCain, first guy to get there. 3rd and 20 next.
Yeah, but in a game like this, you doubt they go for the 20. They're going to try and get something down to about the 30-yard line and line up a field goal opportunity. This one just seems like it's going to be nip and tuck the whole way. So something underneath here likely.
3rd and 20 on this 45-degree night. At the 41-yard line, Forsett lines up in the backfield with Flacco. 4-man rush, pass caught, and there is your 10-yard, maybe 15-yard gain now as Steve Smith cuts across the middle and gets them into good field goal position for Justin Tucker.
Well, that was really about all they wanted to do because Tucker has been so automatic, made everything except kicks 54 yards and longer. So even in this tough arena where it's so hard to kick long field goals, they feel pretty good about having Justin Tucker out there.
45-yard attempt coming up for Tucker to try to make it a 4-point Baltimore lead. And he does, and that's the way the first drive of the second half ends. 10:06 to go in the third quarter. 13-9 Ravens.
Antonio Brown has not been the factor that he has been so many times this season. They have been getting a lot of pass rush. Let's start there, but it also has been a little bit of Ladarius Webb, who has been unafraid to get up in his face, challenge him, get a little physical, try and take him out of the game, let the pass rush do the rest. Here's the one opportunity Brown had, and I thought he made a mistake on this play by jumping for the ball. He really had a chance to turn around, keep his feet on the ground, reach up for it, and make that catch. You jump in the air, and the force-out rule now so favors the defense, just pushed him out of bounds. That was their one big opportunity miss for Pittsburgh.
Tucker sending it down into the Pittsburgh end zone. Marcus Wheaton is there. And he'll down it there. So Pittsburgh will begin this drive, their first of the second half, from the 20-yard line.
And it just feels a little different without Le'Veon, doesn't it? You know, defensive coordinators, what do they say to us every single time? We want to stop the run and then go get the quarterback. Well, essentially the Steelers, without Le'Veon Bell, have stopped the run almost by themselves. And so now they've been able to focus in on getting after Ben, and they've gotten good pressure on him tonight, better than anybody has in a month.
Of course, when they get the job, they say we're going to be very aggressive, right?
Yeah.
Every head coach, every defensive coordinator. They go 5 wide, the Steelers do, as they have on a lot of plays tonight. And then set up the screen to the right side, but that goes nowhere. Archer. Those linebackers for Baltimore, the 4 outside backers, they rotate the guys, mainly Suggs, though stays in there for a good many plays. McPhee and Suggs, Upshaw and Doomerville. What did Mike Tomlin say about these guys? He says, listen, Suggs is the man. He's cool. The rest of the guys are the gang.
Yeah. And the gang's pretty good, too. Courtney Upshaw and Pernell McPhee, those guys just hammer away on your outside guys. Then Elvis Doomerville comes in with his special pass rush.
This time through the middle. There's Josh Harris out to the 30. Mike also said, he said the other guys are specialized laborers.
Yeah, you don't want to try an out conversation, Mike Tomlin, do you? The guy has brilliance that comes out of his mouth.
I love it.
He is. Every time we go into one of our meetings, you go, all right, what do you have for us? Because he always has some unique way of saying something that is the same thing that everybody else tells us the same old way.
Right.
Even the officials think he's funny.
He'd be the captain of my debate team, I'll tell you that.
He's pretty good.
Ben Tate, the running back here, after that first down was picked up on the Harris rush. Then Tate, coming into camp early in the week, had been with Cleveland and Minnesota briefly this season, gain of a couple out to the 32-yard line.
Can you imagine, though, coming in on a football team and having about 3 days of practice and saying, oh, by the way, you're the starter, go get them? I mean, all the stuff that goes in. You go to training camp in 2 days and you work for a month and you kind of halfway have the offense figured out. Now here, everything's on the line, and go out there and make sure you get it all right. Now, I would imagine they have limited a package for him down to probably a few stretch plays, a couple of passes. But so far tonight, the running game really has not gotten it done the way it has with Le'Veon Bell.
2nd and 7. And Ben, ton of time. Great protection. Now he's going to go deep downfield, and it could be incidental contact. There's no flag. Martavis Bryant got tangled up with Ladarius Webb, and there is no flag.
The old tangled feet, but I tell you, the back judge on this one put his hand on his flag and was just trying to figure out whether or not that was interference. A little double move against Webb, something they thought they could get. Tangled feet is what they're going to call. Let's take a closer look. That is the right call, in my opinion. He's got his head back, playing the ball. That's one the fans are going to hate, but that's the right call.
3rd and 7. The play clock is at 1. They just do get the play off. And Ben dancing in the pocket, guns one. That's incomplete at the 50-yard line, and looking for a flag there was Heath Miller, and gets none. And the crowd lets the officiating crew hear it again.
Two-man coverage, man-to-man underneath, all the way across the field, and it was great. Everybody on the field was blanketed. This secondary for the Ravens has been so much better than what I expected them to be in this game. All the way across the board. Nice job. They get off the field, give the ball back to their offense.
That's been the Achilles heel, though they have been playing better down the stretch, the Baltimore secondary. Jacoby Jones is back there along with another Raven. A fair catch is called for at the 29-yard line, taken there by Michael Campanaro. Flacco back to work halfway through the 3rd quarter. 13-9, the Ravens. Well, these teams form a great rivalry, and these two coaches are a good part of it. John Harbaugh already in his 7th season. Mike Tomlin, who got the job at 34 years old. You look at that, each with a Super Bowl title. And Tomlin, you think about Chuck Noll and Bill Cowher here for so long, and all of a sudden Mike's still the 2nd youngest coach in the league. Won't be 43 until the Ides of March. And Harbaugh, a surprising choice when he got the job. He'd been the longtime special teams coach in Philadelphia. Now Flacco's going to go deep on 1st down, and it's going to be hauled in at the 30-yard line. Steve Smith down the sideline, making the catch.
You know, I was thinking, watching Steve Smith make that catch on 3rd down, you might kind of wake him up here. And this is McCain, who played so well, 2 interceptions last week, but Smith has come up with so many big plays. I want to say 10 touchdowns in 9 postseason games. He is a guy that has as big a chip on his shoulder as any NFL player I have ever seen. He is just a street fighter of a guy and somebody you want to have on your team.
From the 29-yard line, this pass is taken here by Smith Sr. Gain of about 5 yards. Under 7 minutes to go now. Smith coming over from Carolina, leading the team in receptions.
Locker mates with Terrell Suggs, some world-famous wrestling matches between those two. And it would take somebody like Steve Smith to actually have the guts to take on Suggs.
From the 23-yard line. To the fullback, Juszczyk. Slammed at the 15-yard line, but is able to pick up the 1st down. Gay is there for the tackle. 1st down at the 15.
You're going to get the classic bootleg here, and Jarvis Jones sitting out here needs to hit this guy as he comes across. He lets him go, and there's just nobody left on that side of the field. William Gay comes up, and William Gay's made some big plays. Boy, not only good tackles, but what does he have now? 3 pick sixes on the season and 1 last year, a streak of 4 in a row.
From the 14, and Flacco buying time. He's going to take off with it, and then slides to a stop at the 8-yard line, turning nothing into a little something. Gain of 5. It'll be 2nd down and 5.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be the untold story of this offense this year, is the mobility of Joe Flacco. Now, he's certainly not Mike Vick or anybody like that, but he can run, he can move. And when they asked him, who do you want as your offensive coordinator, he said, get me the best guy. I don't care what kind of style of offense it is. Get me the best guy. And the best guy for him was Gary Kubiak, and it's been proven true.
2nd and 5. And now Forsett, and he cannot get out of the backfield. Lawrence Timmons, been in the league 8 years now. #1 pick out of Florida State in 07 and going to his first Pro Bowl.
Yeah, and Dick LeBeau has been campaigning a long time for Lawrence Timmons to get to a Pro Bowl. Feels like he's been one of the best players in the league for a long, long time, and finally got the dream come true. But they are doing a good job on that stretch play. The Steelers want them to cut it back immediately or stretch it all the way to the boundary. Get one of those 2 results and good things happen for you defensively.
Big stop here for Pittsburgh, trying to keep it a 1-possession game. Play clock at 3. And a 3-man rush. Flacco escaping, throwing, and it will be caught for a touchdown by Torrey Smith. As he goes to the ground, he keeps possession. The officials come in for a better look, and they go 69 yards in 6 plays.
First of all, what a play by Kelechi Osemele. You're going to see James Harrison go right around Hurst, and at the last second, Osemele comes in and saves the day for Joe Flacco, who just is able to buy enough time to find Torrey Smith in the back of the end zone. Kelechi Osemele has had a huge night tonight, and that his biggest.
So Flacco extends. Mike Mitchell has it get away from him as Smith goes into the corner of the end zone, stays in bounds, secures it. And with the extra point, it would be an 11-point lead. And the crowd is very quiet at Heinz Field. Well, you talk about splash plays. There was a big splash play to start that drive. It was the 40-yard pass from Flacco to Steve Smith. 4:13 left in the third. 20-9 Baltimore. This wildcard playoff game from Pittsburgh being brought to you by Verizon. Get our best end-of-season deals on great tech gifts. By Universal Pictures Black Hat in theaters January the 16th. And by Farmers Insurance. Get smarter about your insurance at farmers.com. That, folks, at Pepe's in Pittsburgh is the Roethlisberger.
Well, a lot of people have been eating on Ben Roethlisberger tonight in this game. He's been under a feeding frenzy here from the Ravens.
And now his team down by 11, and they'll start. Taking it out of the end zone is Marcus Wheaton. To the 43-yard line. So Torrey Smith in the back corner of the end zone with the touchdown. 20-9 Ravens. Next Sunday, January 11th, party night, the Golden Globe Awards. Perfect hosts, Tina Fey, Amy Poehler. Sunday, January 11th, Golden Globes right here on NBC. Pittsburgh Steelers now at the 20-yard line. In a 2-possession game, Josh Harris is the running back, and Roethlisberger begins by throwing to the outside, caught by Wheaton. Gain of 12. You know, we're talking about the coaches, the rivalry. Still 2 very young guys. They're going to be around for a long time as well. But remember, Tomlin got the job, and then everybody said, can you find me the next Mike Tomlin, including Steve Bisciotti. People forget, too, Jason Garrett could have been the Baltimore coach before Harbaugh got the job.
I would say they found the next Mike Tomlin. This guy's been pretty good. 6 out of 7 years now in the playoffs? And
right.
I think there's only been 4 teams that have been able to do that. So pretty impressive stuff.
And every time Harbaugh has gotten to the playoffs, he has won that first game. Trying to make it 6 for 6 tonight. In the middle, Josh Harris just trying to get some sort of run game going. Road wins have been so big. They've had a lot of road games because they've been a lower seeded team. Most postseason road wins in history. Landry and Coughlin with 7, and John with a half dozen.
What's the old saying? Defense travels, and we have seen some defense here tonight. Now, we expect it out of Suggs and Nada, and Brandon Williams has been great. Upshaw, all those guys, but the back end on this thing, Ladarius Webb and company, they have really gotten it done so far.
2nd and 7. Play action. Dump it off. Put out in the flat. And a yard short of the first down, Josh Harris, the rookie, tackled there by Matt Elam. It'll be 3rd down and 1 for Pittsburgh.
You know, and Josh Harris is a nice player. I don't want to insult him at all, but Le'Veon Bell turns a few of those into 30 and 40-yard plays, right? And in the last matchup between these teams, you saw Le'Veon Bell with about 3 or 4 conversions on 3rd down that they've been having a tough time with tonight, like here.
Well, they go no huddle right there, and Roethlisberger has to go down to come up with a football. So now you've got a 4th down coming up. They go no huddle. They're going to be short of the first down as they spot it, about a half-yard shy. Pete Blakeman tells us exactly how far.
Ben took the snap and kind of backed up. I think he was thinking that he was going to go off to this side, but it was Pernell McPhee that shot down off the edge, and it made Ben hesitate. just a bit. You could see him look out there, and McPhee just backed up Beecham right into him and stopped the play.
Well, they're going to at least leave the offense out here. It's 4th down and inches. Will they indeed go for it? Will Johnson, the fullback, is the running back. Spaeth in motion. And they give it to the fullback, and Johnson puts his head down and picks up the first down. Mike Adams leading the way with the block, so they give it to the fullback, Will Johnson. First down.
Well, the big guy in here, big Marcus Gilbert's going to jam it up right down, and he got movement. It's out there with Mike Adams, who has played a lot of that right tackle position as well, and Will Johnson was not going to be denied on that one, was he?
How crazy was that? He carried the ball twice this season. Twice. For 0 net yards.
That was a big one.
That was huge. At the 45-yard line, Harris back in the game. So they had Tate, they had Harris, they had Archer, and they gave it to the fullback. Gain of 2 here. Final minute of the 3rd quarter.
Boy, I tell you, Terrell Suggs rocks people that try to block him. You just see their head snap back, and you see just sort of get back on their heels going against Heath Miller, gets inside of him, and he just kind of gets rocked back, waits on him to make the play. All those guys play that way. The Steelers sort of play that same way. Just sort of get control, come off, and make the play on the run.
Alert. Blue 80.
2nd and 8.
Blue 80.
Ben going deep, and that one is way out of bounds. Antonio Brown covered there by Stewart, Darian Stewart. Not even close. 3rd down and 8.
You know, that's when you see a little frustration coming in, I think, for Ben Roethlisberger. That was a straight cover 2 defense. See Ben shaking his head? Because that's a ball I should not have thrown. You'll get a chance to see this. You're going to have a safety here easily get out underneath this thing. It's just a throw that you don't want. And I think Ben realized it at the last second, didn't get anybody else out, and just threw the thing out of bounds. But they are frustrated. They can't get the ball to Antonio Brown.
3rd down and 8 from the 46-yard line. And Ben under pressure, and he's going to get sacked. Back at the 31-yard line, Elvis Dumerville comes crashing through to make it 4th down to create a punt when we start the 4th quarter. End of 3. 20-9 Baltimore. This wildcard Saturday night, back after these messages. Aerial coverage tonight being brought to you by Geico. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania on this mild December 3rd, 45 degrees at game time, but right now the only thing that's mild is that Pittsburgh offense limited to 3 field goals, and the kick is fielded at the 17-yard line by Jacoby Jones, taken out of bounds at that spot. 7 seconds into the 4th quarter. Baltimore up by 11 in this AFC wildcard battle in Pittsburgh. Some speculation about Justin Forsett wearing down, but look at those numbers, averaging 6.7 yards a carry in the 4th quarter, highest in 30 years since Eric Dickerson set the record at 21:05 for the Rams in '84. And here he goes, and he picks up 7 on this opening thrust to the 24-yard line.
Well, this stretch play in Gary Kubiak's system, this is the bread and butter. Just all the linemen move this way, and the back just finds a lane to cut. But it allows this offensive line to stay aggressive with their blocks. Watch them. They come up the line of scrimmage. They don't fool around, make a lot of calls. They just snap the football.
And on 2nd and 3. Pass is threaded perfectly. Steve Smith Sr. out to the 42-yard line for a first down.
And then all of a sudden you feel like you have to get Troy Polamalu up around the line of scrimmage to help with that run. You're just assuming very aggressive play calling there by Kubiak. Come out after a big run and then hit that one on 2nd down.
The Ravens win. They play Saturday in Foxborough against the Pats. Steelers win at the Broncos next Sunday. Right now, Baltimore up by 11 and on the move again. First down at the 42-yard line. Forsett. Gain of a yard, maybe 2. Well, he played with some great players at Cal. Rodgers, Marshawn Lynch. Then he wound up playing behind Lynch after he went to Seattle. Arian Foster and Houston. It was tough for him, to play with any regularity. And then finally the opportunity came here, and boy, has he made the most of it.
Sean Jackson. I don't know how they lost the game.
Second and 8, and a timeout is taken here by Baltimore. Let's go to Michelle.
Talking about Justin Forsett, Al, he took nothing for granted this season. He told me, I'm 5'8", 198 pounds. I've always had to do more to get people to look beyond my stature. And he said when he came to Baltimore, he didn't have any expectations about his role. He told me, I just try to stay in the present and enjoy the experience. I just keep thinking, this might be my last shot at football.
Well, he's certainly made the most of this year. He had the highest average per carry of any running back in the league. He had Wilson at 7.2 and Kaepernick at 6'1", the two quarterbacks. And then Forsett at 5.4 yards per carry.
The other thing, Al, he had the most runs over 20 yards of anybody this year, 17. So pretty consistent.
Second down and 8. And Flacco's going to go deep, and it is going to be almost picked off, but incomplete. Bryce McCain, who had 2 interceptions last week, could not bring it down. Incomplete, third down.
Troy Polamalu is going to come on the blitz here, and it forces Flacco into a terrible decision. Double move on the outside, but it wasn't there at all. Almost the same exact play that McCain made a week ago, just couldn't hold on to the football. So a big opportunity there, missed for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
And now every third down becomes big in a 2-possession game here for that Pittsburgh defense. Third down and 8. 4-man rush, dumped it off over the middle, and it is Forsett who's going to be a little bit short of the first down. Polamalu and Vince Williams are there.
Maybe.
Yeah, he's going to be, it looks like, inches short of the first down.
He hesitated for just a second there. They always say in that situation, just split the defenders. Don't make anybody miss. I thought if he had caught it and just split between Williams and Polamalu here, he would have had this first down. That little hesitation, that little move, and then they drove him backwards.
Cleve Blakeman's going to bring the chains out, but they're going to be a little bit short. Now what? You know what? If I'm Harbaugh, I go for it. What do you do?
Well, no, your defense is playing awfully well.
Exactly.
You want to give them the ball in midfield? This is a tough call.
Well, that's maybe why I take the chance.
Maybe go hard count or something like that, but well, they're going to go for it here. This is big.
At least line up to go for it. We'll see if they do.
I got to say, I think the way my defense is playing, I might have punted this football with an 11-point lead, but you're playing to move on in the playoffs, and somebody once said you're playing to win the game. So here they go.
4th and inches.
Marshall Yanda's usually the guy that run behind.
And Flacco's going to take it himself and picks up the first down. So on a quarterback sneak right through the middle, Yanda's right there as well, helping to pave the way. First down.
The old wedge blocking here is what all this was. You get everybody cramming down inside, and Joe Flacco's a big, strong fella. Converted that one. Gutsy call, but a great call by John Harbaugh.
Came off Yuta's right side and Yanda's left side. Ball to 47. Take a little bit more time off the clock here. And then he put on the ground and recovered by Tua of Pittsburgh. So Forsett with a fumble, and the Steelers in dire need of a big, big takeaway. Get just that.
Great play by Shazier to hold Justin Forsett.
Harrison got the penetration. Shazier is the guy who was able to pull Forsett away from it. And Pittsburgh with the fumble recovery and a first down at the 45-yard line. And Ben is going to go for it all to Brown. He catches it. Touchdown. 45 yards after Baltimore went for it on 4th and 1, got it. The set. One play later, it's going to be a one-possession game.
It's called a Tampa 2 defense. Darryl Smith, the middle linebacker, is supposed to run down the middle of the field. But there it is, the one we've been waiting for. Antonio Brown has made plays like this all season, as has Ben Roethlisberger. Just give him a shot. And it was all set up on the other end by the play of the defense, James Harrison and Ryan Shazier. Protection rock solid. What a turnaround in this one.
So it's 20-15.
It's under review.
Well, they're going to review this, and then Tomlin's going to talk to Roethlisberger because it's conceivable they'll go for 2. We'll see. But the official review first when we come back. Still waiting to see as we looked at it during the commercial break. We don't see anything that will overturn this. At worst, it would be 1st and goal at the 3-inch line. Knee goes down, but it appears that the ball has crossed the plane of the goal line simultaneous with that. But it is still under review.
Yeah, it's very close, but is there a definitive
After
look?
review of the play, the receiver's left knee was down by contact with the ball positioned at the half-yard line. The ball replaced at the half-yard line, 1st and goal, Pittsburgh.
All right, they saw something that we didn't see. And it'll be at the 18-inch line, not the 3.
Well, you know, I think you make the case there that it's short, but is that definitive? Maybe it is, at least in Blakeman's mind. Get a little different angle of it here. There's the knee down, and that's probably the one they use right there. That looks pretty good.
There's your angle right there. So that's the one that is definitive. So the ball at the half-yard line.
And the half-yard line, you feel pretty good against most teams.
Yeah. If you had Le'Veon Bell, you'd feel even better.
Yeah.
Ben Tate is the back, and the fullback is Will Johnson.
And Tate's fumbled once tonight.
And that's Miller providing leverage.
And we had movement.
Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy.
That's a big call now.
False start. Offense, right guard. 5-yard penalty, still 1st down.
Wow.
Looked like David DeCastro. Everybody's trying to get underneath everybody else on that play, and he flinched just a bit. And now it gets more interesting. See a little flinch right there, and that's enough.
So back to the 5.5-yard line on 1st down and goal. Now Tate alone in the backfield. Wheaton across the formation in motion. And Ben throws, and that will be hauled in by Bryant for a touchdown. He beats Webb, who wants offensive pass interference and won't get it. So the Pittsburgh Steelers do get the touchdown to make it 20-15.
Definitely, you get a guy who's 6'4", 6'5", and he gets his arms extended. Well, Darius Webb's going to say, I can't fight my way through that. But it wasn't a major push. Let's look at it here. Probably not enough. I think that's a pretty good no call there. I would have let that one go too.
And they'll go for 2 to try to make it a 3-point game. 4 for 4 on 2-point conversions this season. And Roethlisberger looking for the deuce, and it's intercepted in the end zone. So that is Elam. That's the end of the play. So it remains a 5-point game. But still a 1-possession game with 11 minutes and 1 second remaining in the 4th quarter.
I'm going to bring a little motion across the formation there with Antonio Brown. Try and send him up the seam, but just floated too much there. And Elam able to make the play. Let's go back to the big fumble play that turned this game around. James Harrison is just going to take Owen Daniels and cram him right back into Forsett. And then it is Shazier who is going to grab Forsett and pull him out of there. Now, he's allowed to do that as long as he's making an effort to get back to the ball. He's going to pull him there and then make a little lunge for the ball. So probably get away with that, but that's a judgment call by the officials.
I'll tell you who loved that was the draft room Because they have your number 1 and number 2 draft choices right there. Then Brown, and they ruled him down at the half-yard line, but they were able to get in. But Shazier, who pulled Forsett away, was their number 1 pick, and Tuitt, who recovered the fumble, was their number 2 pick.
I think that was Jeremy Miles, the safety, who was sort of sneaking a peek at something underneath him and just never saw Antonio Brown coming across the back end of that.
Now Jacoby Jones averaging 24 yards per return, but he's taking almost every kick 7 or 8 yards deep. So he really hasn't given them any field position outside of average position, but now in an opportunity here, fields at the goal line. And Jacoby Jones is forced out of bounds again at the 22-yard line. And we got some flags coming in. Shamarko Thomas was the guy who knocked them out of bounds.
We've seen some uncharacteristic penalties. There was a game.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, kicking team number 29. 15-yard penalty for the end of the run. First down, Baltimore.
That is not the first personal foul of the night. We saw Dick LeBeau earlier getting on his defense, and that's a no-brainer of a call right there. The way your defense was rolling, you certainly wanted to take a shot at backing them up. That hurts.
Instead of the 22-yard line, it's the 37-yard line. Special teams coach Danny Smith giving him an earful. Flacco on first down. Throws, and that's incomplete. And a lot of black shirts in the area intended for Torrey Smith, second down.
Yeah, that's a little uncomfortable. You see Harbaugh over on the sideline going, okay, what was that? I want to be bold, but let's not be crazy out there. Pretty even across the board in this one. Both guys have played well. The one turnover really is kind of flipped it.
The only turnover of the game. And Forsett taken down in the backfield. That's Vince Williams, number 98, the second-year linebacker out of Florida State, setting up a 3rd and 13.
They rotate through those linebackers in there. Vince Williams, we saw Shazier make the play. Sean Spence has made some plays. 3 for 1 at that position, and now play of the game.
Third down, 13 from the 34.
You have to be careful of Troy Polamalu. So many times in the past. He's deep in the middle of the field now, though.
He's 20 yards deep as Flacco throws, and it's caught by Daniels, and Daniels converts on a 3rd and 13 into the Pittsburgh bench he goes. Big first down. Gain of 23 yards for the tight end.
Kind of play this one lurk like this, but Mike Mitchell comes up and just couldn't get there in time to make the play. So yet another huge conversion on 3rd and very long for the Ravens. That is usually the strength of the Pittsburgh Steelers, but hasn't been tonight.
9:45 to go. And Flacco flips it to the outside and incomplete, intended for the fullback use check. Second down and 10.
Yeah, we have seen all night long Justin Forsett. We told you about his relationship with Aaron Rodgers. You didn't block for him, you didn't play. Watch Polamalu here come on the blitz, and Forsett, all 5'8" of them, stands right in there and makes the block. Nothing quarterbacks love more than backs that can protect those kind of blitzers and find them on the field.
Second and 10. Shoulder shake, and the pass caught on the outside by Brown, and Brown's reaching for the marker. Tackled there by McCain. They'll spot it 1 yard shy, making it 3rd down and 1.
I could not be more impressed with Justin Forsett. He is a little guy, but this cross blitz that Pittsburgh runs is something that they always have troubles with. Watch how deep in the hole here Forsett goes up to pick up Shazier and just stymies him right there.
from the 34. Just on the edge of field goal range are the Ravens right now. And timeout is taken by the Ravens, and that will be their second, so they're down to one timeout for the last 8:59 of regulation. This wildcard playoff game is brought to you by Microsoft Surface, the official tablet of the NFL. By Kia Motors, visit kia.com to learn more. By Frost Brewed Coors Light, the game's most refreshing beer. And by Nationwide, Nationwide is on your side.
Wonder what Tom Brady is thinking in New England right now. That possibly he has to see these Baltimore Ravens in the playoffs again. They are one of the few teams that has had a little success, their defense against Tom Brady.
Went in there a couple of years ago and beat him to get to the Super Bowl. 3rd and 1 from the 34. Flacco going deep, and it is no good. Out of bounds was Torrey Smith. Pulled it in out of bounds. How about that call on a 3rd and 1? Wow. Going for the kill shot.
Sure was. It was a great catch, and he just could not drag that foot. Beautifully thrown ball, and it's one of those you hope your receiver can work that back line magic. Game of inches, huh?
Now a 52-yarder. Of course, the downside to this, if he misses, Pittsburgh gets it at the 42-yard line. And Tucker's kick is good. Started to hook a little bit and then stayed inside that left upright. Still a one-possession game. 8-point lead. 23-15 Ravens. All right, next Saturday, more football here on NBC. We'll get the second round of the playoffs started. We know we'll be in Foxborough. And then Sunday, February 1st, the Super Bowl right here on NBC. Next week, as you look at the 6 Super Bowl trophies, that the Steelers have won 4 of them in the 70s, and then 2005 and 2008. If the Ravens win, they will be in Foxborough. If Pittsburgh wins this game, then the winner of Cincinnati, Indianapolis tomorrow would go to Foxborough next Saturday on NBC. In the playoffs, Super Bowl winning quarterbacks in this postseason, and there they are, the magnificent half dozen.
You know, it's interesting that Dean Pease, the defensive coordinator of the Baltimore Ravens, as we look at some of these great players, has played and coached against Ben Roethlisberger dating all the way back to when he was at Kent State and Ben was at Miami University in Ohio. So they know each other very well. So far, Pease getting the upper hand.
Here's Harris starting this drive with a gain of 6 out to the 26-yard line. Doomerville makes the tackle. 8.5 to go in the 4th.
You've got to say that Josh Harris has done his job here tonight, as has Joe Flacco. But the balance and the third downs and the receiving ability of Le'Veon Bell, without question, has been missed.
Yeah, that's been huge. Not being able to get it to the backside of the backfield. 2nd down and 4. Play fake, and then the pass is a little errant, intended for Heath Miller. Right, to reach for it. So 3rd and 4 upcoming.
Yeah, Heath Miller stopped on the play, and I think Ben thought he was going to keep going. And just the miscommunication between two guys who have been nearly perfect this year. 88 times, 88 passes without an interception, and he stops, and Ben thought he was going, and now they end up with a 3rd and medium.
There's Le'Veon Bell, just hoping for a chance to maybe play next weekend.
Look at all the guys on the outside. Look at this formation. 3 on each side.
3rd and 4. And Ben spun around, gets it away, and then it's tipped and almost picked at the 21-yard line and picked. Suggs comes up with it. It was a blitz that time. Darian Stewart came in, Ben got it away. It was tipped and picked off by 55.
He caught it between his legs. You're going to get immediate pressure off of this. They got 3 on each side. Immediate pressure. Ben has to get rid of it. And then watch Suggs. I think he catches it between his legs. It's right there. I don't think it ever hit the ground. Splash plays out. Did it hit the ground? I don't think it did.
Amazing.
First splash play with his knees.
Stewart on the blitz. Tate couldn't handle it. Deflection. Amazing.
Dean Pease has called a brilliant game defensively tonight. He has unsettled Ben. That's a 2nd straight series now. He got him.
And reviewing it, should stand.
After review of the play, the ruling on the field is confirmed. It is an interception. First down, Baltimore.
Pressure gets there. Tate can't hold on, and then Suggs does somehow, some way. He is magical in this series against Ben Roethlisberger.
16 postseason games, his first postseason interception, and now Flacco throwing off the fake. It is caught by Crockett Gilmore for the touchdown. So as was the case with Pittsburgh after their takeaway, one play later, the near touchdown to Brown, and then Baltimore comes back on its very first play to Gilmore for the score.
I'm going to tell you what, Gary Kubiak has been unbelievable calling plays tonight. Totally unafraid. Everybody in the house was looking for a run play there. He comes right out the other way with the bootleg. When you have a really top-end pass rush team, move the pocket. Joe Flacco said that's the key. Then he goes for the separator.
Tucker for the 30th point of the night. It comes with 7:56 remaining in the 4th quarter, and the Baltimore Ravens lead Pittsburgh 30-15. Halftime of the Super Bowl, it'll be Katy Perry. You can check out exclusive content at Pepsi.com. Get hyped for halftime, the Pepsi Super Bowl 49 halftime show, the 1st of February, right here on NBC. Well, it's 30-15 Baltimore. The Ravens barely getting in last week, trailing Cleveland in the 4th quarter, had to come from behind, needed Kansas City to beat San Diego with a backup quarterback, Chase Daniel, playing for the injured Alex Smith, and all of that happened. And here they are as the number 6 seed, up by 15 and trying to go to Foxborough next Saturday.
And this offense has not played well for the last few weeks, and tonight they've been much better.
Roethlisberger will go to work from the 20. Give a passer rating over 100. Of course, you've had a pretty good day, all things considered. Joe Montana had 8 straight postseason games over 100. Troy Aikman with a handful. Jake Delhomme, part start. Joe Flacco with 4, and here's what he is tonight. Looking for a 5th consecutive game, and in particular a terrific second half.
Yeah, this team 0-3 against the Steelers in the playoffs. You know this one's extra special if they can hold on here. You got to worry about what Dean Pease is going to draw up. He's got them back-to-back on great blitz calls.
Over the middle, Brown. Brown running to the sideline. Pushed out there by Melvin. There's a flag on the play. Flag of the play.
Personal foul, grabbing the face mask. Offense, number 84. Penalties half the distance to the goal line from the end of the run. Replay, first down.
Well, that was Antonio Brown trying to work his way out of bounds and getting the mask. And there is Dean Pease, defensive coordinator, who's called a masterful game tonight.
Yeah, knows a little something about New England as well. But he, on back-to-back plays now, got unblocked rushers that hit Ben Roethlisberger, that ended one drive and got a turnover on the next, and that turned this game around.
From the 12. Ben has to dump it over the middle. Miller Takes it out to the 18-yard line. Tackled there by 51 Darrell Smith. And the injured Steeler is Marcus Gilbert, the right tackle.
Well, let's go back to those two blitzes that really has turned the game. First time come through, and because of the extra guy in here, Gilbert had to block down. That meant Dumerville got a free rush at him. Big hit there, and then here comes the one, 3 on each side, free rusher. Ben scrambles, tries to make a play, throws the big interception, and the game has changed. All the way back to college, these guys have been going at it. Ben knew what he had in mind. He knew what he was going to see here tonight. A lot of exotic stuff, and so far tonight it's worked. And you know, you don't want to wear it out, but certainly Le'Veon Bell takes some of those plays like that, and maybe he catches that play, maybe he doesn't. But we've seen him turn them into 20 and 30-yard games repeatedly this year.
Well, you don't take the number 2 rusher out of the lineup, and a guy who caught more than 80 passes and not feel it.
Yep.
Mike Adams will come in to take Gilbert's spot. Check out the Gilbert injury.
There he is here. Yeah, that's Pernell McPhee who hit him and kind of split his legs apart. Mike Adams has played this year. He has 4 starts at right tackle when Gilbert was out with an ankle. But not exactly what you want to have happen here in desperation time. They have to get something going here.
Ball at the 18 as play resumes. It is 2nd down and 12. And Dumerville lines up over Adams. Pass caught by Brown. Brown spins out to the 25-yard line. Mosley makes the tackle. 3rd down and 5. The Suggs have started to come in, but
they got they couldn't get the ball snapped.
Yeah,
they had to get them trapped.
No huddle. Now you've got flags. You got a free play coming up, and the pass caught out at the 40-yard line. So either way, they're going to get the first. Marcus Wheaton makes the catch out of the 40-yard line. So Ben got him to jump. He'll decline the penalty, take the play. It'll be first down at the 40.
Defense, number 56. Penalties declined. Yardage is up for a first down, Pittsburgh.
This is the one area I thought they would really work on tonight. Anthony Levine, a converted safety out there playing slot corner. Hard count worked on that last one. You've got a guy, Rashawn Melvin, who was cut by the Buccaneers in week 2. Now he's sort of their guy at corner. They just have not been able to take advantage of these guys.
And Ben guns one over the middle. Brown makes this catch. First down at the Baltimore 41-yard line. And he'll lead him up in the hurry up, gain of 19 yards. Clock ticks down to 6 minutes left in the 4th.
So many teams go into that Tampa 2 defense, and there are some of those outside hook zones, those little bend-in routes that are open and open consistently.
That's what the Ravens are in right now on a 1st and 10. With Ben stepping up, taking off with it, and Roethlisberger to the 24-yard line. Not the prettiest runner in the world, but he got it done. Gain of 16.
Anytime you have 4-man rushers, there are going to be gaps. Now, certain guys are a little prettier running with the football than Ben is, but he got it done, and they are flying down the field in the way they haven't tonight, just giving the ball to Ben and letting him work.
At the 25, 5.5 to go. Ben fires inside the 20-yard line, caught. Dree Archer. Gain of about 6 yards here. 2nd down and 4.
There are a lot of people that left this building. I don't think they were here when we were and saw that 6-touchdown performance when he was scoring quickly like he's going down the field right now.
Under 5 minutes to go. Crowd frustrated with all the time they're taking to get the playoffs. 2nd and 4. And it's caught on the outside by Archer, and a flag is down. For the moment, Archer goes into the end zone, but a flag is down back at the 28-yard line.
I think it's going to be on Kelvin Beachum.
Holding. Offense, number 68. 10-yard penalty. Replay, second down.
Indeed.
Guess who he's trying to block? All night long, it's been the Terrell Suggs show. Beachum, great quickness, great feet, but it is awfully tough to block this guy. At the tail end of that, going to reach around. Called by the line judge. Appeared to be yanked to the ground.
Back to the 29-yard line now. And that makes it second down and 14. Play clock at 1. And Ben jostled, contacted, and sacked. Courtney Upshaw came flying through to make it third down and long, and Ben still down.
Oh, boy.
Unless they take a timeout, he's going to have to come out for at least one play on a 3rd and 21.
Going against the backup tackle, Mike Adams, who was a high draft pick, a second-round pick, but really has struggled since coming to the Steelers. And oh, boy.
And they do take a timeout. Pittsburgh does here to see if they can get Ben to get regathered here. Otherwise, you're going to have to bring in the backup quarterback, Gradkowski, on a 3rd and 21. But this way, by taking the timeout, give him a moment, see if he can take the next snap. Shakes off the cobwebs. We've seen him do this for 11 years. And see if he gets back into the huddle.
Well, we have seen him take some shots against this team, and I think the question now is, his head hit the ground. Are we going to go through this concussion protocol? And I think they are. You know, this is they don't fool around. Even if you're Ben Roethlisberger there, head goes to the ground, and he is coming off despite the timeout. And this is the way it's supposed to work, even in playoff games. Looks like the right move here. And in comes Gradkowski.
So they escort him to the sideline, and Bruce Gradkowski, 9th year in the league, has a lot of experience, but not in recent times. Started 11 games as a rookie in Tampa, been with Oakland and Cleveland and Cincinnati. His brother Gino is the backup center for Baltimore. And nothing like coming in on a 3rd and 21. And there is his brother. 3rd down and 21.
Hey, 5-1. Here we go. Hey. Green 18. Green 18 tonight.
And Gradkowski throws. That's caught by Miller. And Heath Miller to the 18-yard line. That's going to make it 4th down and 3.
And Heath is down. And I think the officials are saying he has to go off the field. Yeah, because if they think that he is woozy, he has to go off the field, and we get the helmet-to-helmet shot, a legal version of that from C.J. Mosley. And the official looked into his eyes much like a fight doctor would, and that's sort of a standing 8 count. So we have 2 back-to-back standing 8 counts going here.
Roethlisberger and Miller, and now you got Gradkowski on a 4th and 3. Matt Spaeth takes the spot of Miller. Brown goes in motion, and Gradkowski, in kind of a Walter Mitty moment, throws, caught. Brown makes the catch, and he almost backtracked to the point where he might not have had the first down, but he does pick up 4 when he needed 3, and it's a first down at the 14-yard line.
Yeah, just a moving block really by Matt Spaeth going out in front of Antonio Brown. You'll see him just kind of come down and getting away, and then hook it up underneath there. Nice play call by Haley, and we have had a little face mask action on the tail end of that one as well. But how about Gradkowski so far?
Nothing like coming in on a 3rd and 21, 4th and 3. He converts. The ball is at the 14-yard line. And Gradkowski with that pump fake, and then throws, and reaching up for it No. Out of bounds is Martavis Bryant. Webb covering on the play. It'll be second down.
He'd have had this if the safety didn't come over and knock this thing out. He got his hands on the ball. A little double move there. And then Will Hill, who has been such a find for this defense.
Meanwhile, Roethlisberger's coming back into the game. So he passed whatever protocol they were putting him through. Miller is back into the game. And now it's second and 10. 3:04 remaining in the fourth. Ben throwing and intercepted in the end zone by Darian Stewart. They bring Ben back into the game, and his very first play is a pick.
You know, he took off and ran with one earlier. You've got to think probably a little groggy here. Might have had the same opportunity, but there is nothing even remotely close to open on the back of the end zone here. I mean, there is just double team. If it wasn't Stewart with the interception, it would have been the corner. So maybe Ben just not quite right on that one.
And now the Ravens can play clock ball at the 20-yard line. Pittsburgh can stop the clock twice with 2:57. Give it to Forsett to the 22. Let's check in with Michelle.
Well, when Ben Roethlisberger first came off the field, he was talking to the team internist. They were having some conversations. They were also testing the strength in his neck and his shoulders, feeling around at the back of that neck to the upper part of the spine. But then he put his helmet back on and walked to the sideline as though he were ready to come in, and that's when they let him come in, Al.
And they let him come back in, and the first thing is an interception thrown to Stewart. I agree with you, Chris. Maybe a little groggy as he came back in at that point. And it's second down and 8. Pittsburgh conserving its timeout here. Forsett. They should take one here, and then they get the free one at the 2-minute warning. And they do, so it'll be third down coming up with 2:08. So they have one timeout plus the 2-minute warning. Have a second to take a look at how the AFC is setting up. Ravens trying to win that trip to New England next Saturday. Cincinnati against Indianapolis, 4 against 5 in Indy tomorrow. Road to the Super Bowl will have to go through New England one way or another. They're the #1 seed. Denver #2. They'll host the highest remaining seed, meaning if Baltimore holds on in this one, the Cincinnati Indianapolis winner goes to Denver next week. 3rd and 8. Here's Forsett. And he gets taken down, so it'll be 4th down. Shazier makes the tackle. That takes us to the 2-minute warning. So Pittsburgh will get the ball back. One timeout, 120 seconds, and down by 15 in this AFC wildcard game. Wednesday night rivalry night on NBC-SN. This week the Boston Bruins take on the Pittsburgh Penguins. Coverage starts at 7 Eastern on NBC-SN. Mario Lemieux, the statue of him outside the Consol Energy Center. Volkswagen post-game report. Michelle on the field. Bob, Tony, and Mike break it down. Look ahead to divisional weekend. Sam Cooke into punt. Something he's only had to do one time tonight. And it was a 49-yarder in the first half.
Come playoff time, you just can't count out the Ravens, can you?
No.
And there were so many times this year you just sort of said, okay, the Bengals beat them twice. Look out.
High snap, and it is Shamarko Thomas out of the end zone. So they're going to get the ball again. They're going to get a couple of points to make it 30-17, and then a free kick is forthcoming from the 20-yard line. So it's now a 13-point game with 1:56.
Well, Sam Cooke is angled this way, and they've got their protection going that way. and they're still able to get their hands on the football. Shamarko Thomas, just a brilliant play. They've got this punt, the high snap, clearly a factor in there, but that should have been protected to that side because they were angled and trying to go that direction, and it was really just Kyle Juszczyk missing the block.
And a good break for the Ravens to have that one go out of the end zone. Otherwise, you have a prospective touchdown.
John Harbaugh saying it's never over.
No.
You play Pittsburgh, it's never over. Just when you think it's over, it's never over.
So now a free kick from the 20-yard line for the Baltimore Ravens.
Trying to think, yeah, you're going to see Antonio Brown. You get your best playmaker. Yep, there he goes. We've seen him create so much magic this year. Does he have one more in him?
It's a guy who should be in the MVP conversation, even though a little difficult for a wideout to win it.
They're going to do everything they can to pin him in one side or the other. Nope.
And Cook will launch it to the 15-yard line. Brown coming to the near side, runs out of room. Out of bounds at the 31-yard line with 1:50 remaining.
I tell you, the special teams of the Ravens are something that will factor into these playoffs as they continue on. We have seen this team do so many things well. Of course, Jacoby Jones gets all the attention, but punter, place kicker, they're all tough. Not quite as good as that guy, though.
Coverage units. Suggs, his first career postseason interception tonight. And that's one that'll be on the Hall of Fame tape when he does eventually get enshrined in Canton.
Splash play with catching a ball between his legs.
From the 31, Roethlisberger launching one deep and then adjusting, coming back with a flag.
I think that's going to be offensive.
Martavis Bryant trying to create some separation the other way on Rashawn Melvin.
Boy, they like this Rashawn Melvin too, don't they?
Yeah.
Guy that wasn't even on the team until about a month ago.
Offense, number 10.
He's with Tampa Bay and Miami before
first down
this season.
Yeah, he's about 6'2" though, and he's come in and really made some plays for him. I don't know how much of a push that was, but there's Steve Spagnuolo, who has been coaching these guys up, and they have really done a job. It looked like it was just over. 7 different corners starting, 5 different safeties. They call in Rashawn Melvin off the practice squad of the Dolphins after he was cut by the Buccaneers, and they'll add Jimmy Smith back to the mix, their best player in that secondary next year, and he's really tough.
And Roethlisberger throws and one of shots taken after a gain of 17. Will Hill blasting Marcus Wheaton. Pittsburgh has one timeout. They're not taking it here, though.
Second shot. That's a Steelers-Ravens shot right there. And Will Hill, there's a guy that was basically given up on. Has so many off-the-field incidents. Suspended again this year. And they finally inserted him in the lineup. It just seemed like things settled down in that secondary.
Pass intended for Dree Archer, so 1:10 and a 3rd down and 3.
What he did on the field was never an issue. It was off the field.
During his time with the New York Giants.
Blue 80. Blue 80.
And Roethlisberger has that one batted. Haloti Ngata is there, so last gasp here on a 4th down and 3.
You know, David DeCastro is a heck of a player, and Haloti Ngata just waded right through him. Right here. Just going to go right through him to get to Ben, and I think he got Ben's thumb or hand or something here. He came out of there shaking his hand, put it right on his helmet. Quarterbacks have that happen to them all the time, but you know, you put Nada back on the Ravens and you take Le'Veon Bell off the Steelers, and that switch didn't work out tonight for Pittsburgh.
4th and 3, and they do keep it alive, but then the ball is loose. Dropped by Miller, and the Baltimore Ravens are there and come up with the football. Even though the Pittsburgh Steelers say they have it, the officials say, no, you don't, and that will do it. So Miller had the first down, the fumble, the turnover, and now the clock can be run out by the Baltimore Ravens before they get set for a trip to New England next Saturday.
Darryl Smith, the old guy on this defense. He's been mentoring C.J. Mosley, mentored him all the way to the Pro Bowl. And the word in the locker room was, let's win one for Darryl Smith. Let's let that guy go out and have a big night in the playoffs and move on. And there he was making his own play at the end of the night.
And how about John Harbaugh? We talked about it before when we talk about his 6 postseason appearances in 7 seasons, and each time he has won that first game, and it's never been one and done.
All he needs is Jim on the sideline.
Well, he had him tonight.
Well, he had him tonight. He had him on Thanksgiving one time. He had him on the Super Bowl.
First 2 games in postseason against the Steelers, they had his number. And tonight, a big night for Flacco. Steve Smith catches 5 for 101. Owen Daniels had a nice night, too. We really didn't have much of a running game tonight. Didn't need one.
I tell you, there's nothing better than being an opposing team in a silent stadium in a playoff game and watching people heading for the exits.
Silent and empty. And for the Pittsburgh Steelers, who have been revamping the past couple of years, what about Troy Polamalu? What about Ike Taylor? What about James Harrison? They brought Brett Kiesel back this year. So it's a league and a team in transition. We're all day to day, you know that.
No fluke there, though.
Nope.
Ravens put it to them tonight, and they did exactly what we talked about early on. Had to hit Ben Roethlisberger all night. They did it.
3 takeaways on the last 3 Pittsburgh possessions by the Baltimore Ravens, including that one by Terrell Suggs. So the Ravens will move on to the round of 8 as they go to New England next Saturday. Final score 30-17. Coming up next, the Volkswagen post-game report. Stick around.